It's time for a quick history lesson. And let's see if the data shows that black on black bashing works. Okay, but let's first start with the first data. And that is from the 50s to the 60s to the late 90s. And we call this the peace and love era. This was the time when black people had afros. And they would wear the African American colors. They had every intentions to do right amongst each other. This was the peace and love era, which was most definitely dominant in the 60s. So the national black anthem was peace and love. And in that period, there was very low black on black crime. There was very low drug use. You didn't have to fear your neighbors. The community was about love. The community raised the children. People that were not your parents had the right to whoop you when they seen you do wrong. Now, what I don't understand is why we as black people got away from that message. And now you have a new era of black people that feel that talking bad about each other and putting each other down and airing out all of our dirty laundry for the world to see. Because it's not just black people watching these videos. It is people of different ethnic backgrounds that is watching us air out our dirty laundry. Now, who made up this philosophy needs to be shot, literally. Because if we know about history, and remember, history plays a very important part in the future. Because you can always go back to your history and learn things. And what we learn is that peace and love works. Peace and love works. What happened to black people is we got away from the love of each other. Now, how that happened was very easy. They killed the peace and love that was in us by killing off the Black Panthers, by killing off Martin Luther King and his movement, by killing off the movement and the message. And that was how we got away from the peace and love message, and the gangs and the Crips and the Bloods emerged, and everything changed. So we know that this 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s was the golden era. And history shows us that peace and love works. What I don't understand is why we are running from that message. You have to be insane if you think this new method is going to work. And the reason why I say this is because there's no data to prove it. There is no data to prove that black on black bashing works. There is no data that proves that bashing black women work. There is no data to prove that bashing black men work. There is no data to back this up. But black people are doing this on YouTube. Common sense will tell you that using your brain is a part of your intellect. Now, why would you go out on the bridge and try a new method? Now, I know we're desperate. I see the crime. I see what's going on in Chicago. I live in Cali. Half of my families are Crips and Bloods. I see it all the time. I'm an ex-Crip. I used to flag that blue rag until I found out who I was. See, the problem is most children don't know who they are. And you know whose fault it is? It is the parents' fault. Now, do you want to know how we can solve this? I'm going to tell you, it's quite easy. Make sure that the Black history books are in your bedroom. Make sure that it is second to the Bible. Make sure your kids know who they are. By the time they are 5 years old, they should be able to quote over 100 pages of that Black history book. And I guarantee you, I can almost guarantee you that the rate of crime will fall significantly. I guarantee this. Once those kids find out who they are, they will change. I used to flag my rag, wear my chucks and my khakis and my blue rag, and I repped it. Sea Rider Crippin' all day long. That blue rag was my life. I repped my hood, I repped my block to the fullest. I was like a little bull because every time I see red, I wanted to shoot at it. I lived that life. And luckily I came out of it while I was still young. Because I started when I was like 12 years old. But when I got in my late 20s and I figured out who I was, and a friend of mine came to me and introduced me to Black history. He told me who I was. And the light came on in my head. And ever since then, I've never been the same. I've never been the same, I've never been the same. This can be curbed easily. Teach your kids who they are. Take time out from the club. Take time out from going to get those Jordans. Take time out from hanging out on the block. Take time out from Facebook. Take time out from Twitter. Grab a history book and start to teach your kids who they are. Don't let the high schools and the colleges and the universities tell them who they are. You tell them who they are. This is the reason why you have the highest murder rate in the African American community in the history of the Black African American community. Because these kids don't know who they are. Make sure that the Black history books are second to the Bible. It should be taught in every family. And I guarantee you, you will see a significant change that will blow your mind. Now, I can sit here and get distressful like everybody else, and I see that we're all desperate because we don't understand why everything is coming unraveled and why everything is going wrong and why we're killing each other at a high rate and why ratchetness is out of control and why women are not showing themselves respect and men are out here killing off each other left and right and the prisons are swelling over capacity. It's because these people don't know who they are. Nobody took the time out. Even in my time, my family never sit down and said, this is who you are. My mother and my father never took a Black history book and set me down and said, this is who you are. And the outcome was devastating. I turned to gangbanging. I turned to selling drugs. I turned to being that B-boy on the block. Wanting that car, wanting those 24s, swinging that block, throwing up that Cali Crip. Because I didn't know who I was. Now, if my parents would have took the time out to put that history book in front of me, the outcome would have been way more different. There will be a part 2 to this. Do Black on Black bashing works? And we're going to figure this out. But go back to history. Rewind this video. Know that I'm telling you is the truth. We have to get back to peace and love because it worked before and it'll work again. This black on black bashing, will not work. It will not work. It is a waste of time. We have to get back to the message. To the message. Videos can only go so far, but love can travel across the world. Across the world. Let's get back to peace and love. That is what works. It is in the history book. It is proof that it works. So let's get back to that. Back to that and teach our kids who they are. There will be a part 2 to this video. Like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.